Hello everybody. It is a beautiful day in Michigan, Garden Zone 4B, and I am putting my hibiscus tree outside. It is March, the first week of March, end of the first week of March, something. It's been 3 weeks since I've trimmed this tree, so I want to show you my propagations before I take the tree out. I was just checking on them. This is my tallest one. I didn't cut the tops off. I did all of my propagations a little bit differently to see what works for me with this particular plant. I'm trying to turn my light up and talk to you at the same time. This one was uncovered. This one's never been covered. They all do still look alive 3 weeks later. I'm using a potato bag on this one so that it gets air circulation. And of course I'm keeping them all in the shade. I'm going to show you one more. Surely it's a couple more. This is the one I had air layered. And it was the first one that I propagated. I did it the day of. And I wrapped it up real well. And then when I went back to check on it, it was kind of moldy. It was growing a fungus. So I unwrapped it, sprayed it with vinegar and water, which killed all the fungus. And you can see growth right there. So thankfully it survived, and it's been uncovered ever since. Smaller one. I kept trimming and I just didn't throw any of the sticks away. And I don't have them all in the same spot, so I have to, I'm sure I have one more I have to hunt for because it's going to need watered. So I'm learning how not to overwater and not to overcover. This is a produce bag from the grocery store. So this one's covered lightly, but not as aerated as the potato bag one. And I cut the tops off. Let me unwrap it. And it appears this one's the winner. This one I cut the tops off of, and it's one of the shorter sticks in one of the smaller pots. This one has actual leaves, so this is the winner of, you know, many different ways to propagate till I find one that works. This pot doesn't have a hole in it. This is the pot that the paper whites came in, a kit with a pot and dirt, bulbs. So they have been tossed and I'm reusing the pots. Yeah, wow, I'm really super happy with this one. When you do have something wrapped and you unwrap it, for me, that is the time that I have lost propagations. So I'm going to be careful. I'm going to put it back on, but I'm not going to tie it up. I'm going to let it get a lot of air. This is what the potato bag looks like. Half of the bag has air holes, so it's ventilation. Okay, I am going to go outside and show you what's going on outside. This year's apple tree. I'm going to show you the ones that I started in the window 6 years ago that are in the ground and the buds are opening. Hibiscus, tropical hibiscus. That was my first one that sprouted. Doesn't quite look like a tree yet, but it's getting there. Alright, got the tropical hibiscus outside on the deck. It is still full of air plants. It's not windy, but I'm going to have to wire them on the tree. I'm hoping I have some laying around in my basement storage area. Whenever I have that stuff, I do hang on to it. I find stuff here and there. Sometimes I don't even know where stuff comes from. I don't even know where the wire came from. Some of it came from the farmhouse when my kids moved. This I brought out a couple days ago. The geraniums that are wintered inside do go through a phase when you put them outside. They have to get used to it. They don't look great. It's better if you keep them in the shade, even though these are sun-loving plants. Not when you first put them outside. You'll lose a lot of leaves. I started with the things that do well in cold weather. This is one of them. It was full of aphids, and it was too hot in the greenhouse, and it was not happy. So it is happier now, and I took the hose to it and sprayed the aphids off weeks ago. Herbs also like the colder weather, they do well. This pot's doing really well. The other one needs more time, or I need to put some plugs in it. I went over there. This is something I planted in the greenhouse a while ago. Also has bare spots, but I did seed it. Where are the little sprouts? Hope I didn't lose them. They're in there. There's also pansies in here. It's like cooking, you know, if you don't time everything just right, dinner's ruined. That's what this pot reminds me of. So these are all edibles. It's not finished, but you know what? I've been eating off it, and I've been feeding stuff to the chickens. See what the tag says. It says pansies, nasturtiums, lettuce, cress is also lettuce, spinach, lemongrass, chamomile, and a red lettuce. Sylvia. I added something. What did I add? Didn't write it down? I didn't write it down. I added bok choy. That's the bok choy. When I planted, I was considering selling it, but because everything's kind of not perfect, I won't sell it. I'll just keep eating off of it and adding to it. I added this from my big one in the greenhouse, parsley. This bare spot is mint, which is starting to come up. Oregano and sage. So also been eating off of these pots. This is new, Home Depot. I fell in love with these in Florida. The places where we stayed were decked out with tropicals, and there were a lot of these. Thai palm. These wintered outside. They did well. I mean, this is Michigan, so it's greening up. Delphinium. I'm always happy when I see it come back every year. I tried to seed that for years and could not seed it myself. I bought it at the nursery. Pansies from last year are coming back. Put a lot of really nice stuff in that garden, but it has not come back yet. These pansies haven't come back yet. This is lemongrass. It's not going to come back. I have to pull it out and plop something else in there. Garlic, chives, and bulbs. planted a bunch of seeds in here just before it rained yesterday. I got some little plugs from the grocery store. Cold loving perennials. So I'm redoing this whole section. Hi, you want to be on? Do you want to be on? Hi. Say hi, YouTubers. He wants to go see the chickens. He fell in love with our chickens. Greenhouse. It's been warm enough to put stuff outside, which gave me the opportunity to clean inside so I can work. It was so jam-packed with stuff, I could not work in there. So this is garden extras. Daisies, primrose, herbs, lots of oregano. My oregano was huge last year and it reseeded all over the place. Morning, chickens. They didn't get to go outside yesterday because it was cold and rainy. So they are happy. Morning, chickens. Say hello to the YouTubers. Hear them? They said hello. So I've been off for a couple weeks. I've been, you know, full on garden cleanup. There's a lot of little gardens and a lot of cleanup. These milk jugs didn't do great, but I do have some sprouts and I will show them to you when I unpack them. They're not ready yet. More bulbs, more herbs. I did a lot of work to this garden yesterday. I put a lot more seeds in here. Pack of wildflower seeds in the middle. There's a lot of bulbs in here. When they bloom, we'll talk more about bulbs. This project, the vegetable garden, is on hold until I move the greenhouse. I'm moving the greenhouse over here. It is now over here. I call it Greenhouse 2. These are the cold vegetables. I did pull some broccoli out of here. This broccoli did absolutely horrible. White flies and too much heat in the fall. Onions, pulling onions out of here. There's a lot of seeds I planted that are just now coming up. So the greenhouse is just going to be picked up and moved off of this, and then this will look nice. Onions are getting ready to bloom, and I love the flowers on an onion. So we'll move the greenhouse over here. Shrink it. And tomatoes and peppers, squash, that sort of thing will go in there. Apple trees. Back when I planted these, I was just, you know, eating apples and putting seeds in dirt, probably 6 years ago. And I did not label them. So I do not know what kind of apples they are. But they have little leaves on them. Can't wait till these things bloom. They have not bloomed yet. Maybe another year. Might get lucky. Greenhouse 1. Greenhouse 1 is heated and has 2 fans. Tomatoes that I planted in February have been potted up. For my birthday, I got elderberry bushes, shrubs. We ordered 1 and we got 3 off of Etsy. I didn't order, my daughter did. She surprised me. This was like the one thing I couldn't find anywhere. The kiwi think last time I showed it to you, it was budding. Today it is going outside in all its glory. It has not bloomed yet, so we haven't got kiwi yet. We don't know if it's male or female or both in that pot. So when it blooms, that's how you can identify the male and the female. And the ones that you buy commercially for cold climates usually come with a male and a female in the same pot. So if all goes well, we'll have kiwi this year. Because it was in the greenhouse and it's early, I'm hopeful. These are the vegetables that I started in February that need to be potted up. This particular pot is 6 different kinds of tomatoes. All the ones that I had when I was potting up, I potted up one pot, one tray of each one. For sale, $4 or $5. That's why I call myself Garden Extras. Instead of thinning by cutting them and pulling them and throwing them away, I pot them up and sell them. Tray of flowers was somewhat recently done. The English daisies came up, and I have a tendency to overwater. I shouldn't have watered because now they're gone. I'm going to replant them today now that I have room to work in here. I'm excited about that. I've been cleaning it up before I get the camera out so that I have room to work. Zinnias, they're doing well. I have 2 lights in here. This one's not on because I have the heater to the chicken coop plugged in to the greenhouse, and I don't have enough plugs. And I'm afraid I'll blow something if I plug too much stuff in. Look at this mess. So the greenhouse heater's now on a timer because it really is only cold like late in the night, early in the morning. And the lights and the fans are on timers. This is going to be going out soon too. So I have room to work in here now. I don't have as much room to film, but there's plenty of room here in the middle for me to move around. I have an empty table. Under the table is where the heat mat is, which is off, because I don't have enough juice to run so many things. These can go outside too. Hydrangeas that I propagated. One's blooming. Look what we got there. It's blooming. I have more in the back that need to be repotted. The wild grapes, I'm going to leave them alone, but they are rooting. I do see buds on them. That came from the farmhouse. Turmeric, I'm still hoping it'll come back. And there's a sweet potato in that one, in the back corner there. And I am trying to seed a bunch of palms. I brought seeds home from Florida, and they are everywhere. This bamboo is going to be a wall, close to the road in front of the deck. I haven't laid it out yet, but I'm excited to get there. One of the pots from the inside garden shelf. Still coming back. A shelf in here for smalls. The propagations, the succulent propagations are slowly coming out. So the bugs are gone. I don't have any bugs in here at the moment, but when I got back from Florida, the aphids and fruit flies and a couple spider mites. Let's see, I don't have it in here. There's something outside. One of these sticks had spider mites and it was close to another plant, this one. So I don't think it's dead. I think it just needs more time. And the smoke tree. We trimmed a branch off it and it's propagating. So a lot of the things that I sell are things like the daisies that just multiply and I have to thin them. But my propagations are going to increase, not just increase, but I'll have better things to sell in the future. So I have flipped the greenhouse. All the things that can handle the cold have been out, which gives me room to bring in the tropicals from inside. I flip the greenhouse pretty often seasonally. Nice to be able to move around. This is the one that had spider mites. I took it out of the pot, got all the dirt off of it, and soaked it in water for 20 minutes, and then replanted it. And it is so much happier now. It was looking horrible. Strawberry pot. Probably gonna sell that. I have lots of strawberries in the ground behind. I am cleaning, flipping. This is the inside stuff. The lemon tree died. I'm sad. I broke branches to see if I could find any green, and it's just dead. I believe I killed it trying to fight spider mites with homemade mixtures. I overdid it. So, what was I going to talk about? The tomato plants in the greenhouse, the smaller ones, I said that I planted them in February. The smaller ones were planted in March when I got home from vacation. So they're a month apart. I've got some that I planted in February and some that I planted in March, and I'm still planting. The rose bush is going outside too. The roses outside are looking good. They're sprouting. The heat mat on the inside is plugged in, and that's where my palm seeds are, and more turmeric. And I have ginger that's coming out. I have one big one that's unfolding. So I have two mats, one inside, one in the greenhouse. So this is the one I'm using right now for the palms. And I didn't show you the air plants that I have in the greenhouse. They were on a bottom shelf in the front. Thinking I might take the air plants off the tree outside. I don't know if I'm going to have time to wire them on. We'll see. This is another one that I fell in love with in Florida and brought home. Not warm enough for the tropicals yet, so. This one, if I put it outside in the greenhouse, it'll start blooming. Beautiful white flowers. So, flipping. I need to plant a bunch more of these bulbs. They're not bulbs, they're little runners. Sometimes I remember what they're called, sometimes I don't. Yep. All this stuff's going outside because I'm planting out there instead of in here. Passion flowers got buds on it again. Accidentally, when I was trimming it, cut my last buds off. Not warm enough for these to go outside yet. And my tropical hibiscus, I can bring that inside the door to the deck is a stairway that's heated. So I just have to pop it back in the house if it gets too cold. 45. They can handle lows of 45, and we got lows of 50 this week. It's going to get up to 80 in Michigan today in April. Can you believe it? Getting close to the middle of April. This is my first ginger. It's kind of unwrapping, and it's tall. It's doing well in here, so I'm going to leave it in here. With this last shot, I bid you goodbye. See you on the next one.